miners finding the explosives around this place. We've always said to people that when you see something, say something, and then the authorities should be able to do something. This is quite unfortunate. At this stage, it's just to rescue anyone that is still under the rubble here, and also the people that have been taken to the hospital to give them care, and also some of the people who have their houses destroyed, provide temporary accommodation for them. But most importantly, who react appropriately.
Well, it is the morning after the explosion, which hit Adeya Avenue in the bodija area of Ibadan, Oyo State, and residents are now counting their losses. What we are seeing here is buildings now in ruins where they once stood, and some residents are seen trying to salvage what they can from the rubble. There is a strong presence of a combined team of security agents. And also some resident of Adeya Avenue spoke with newsmen. A resident alleged some tenants who are illegal miners indeed stored explosives in a house. He also said that though they were arrested twice by the police, they never desisted from the illegal activity. Another resident said his family was saved by the whiskers.
Among the people that are resident here, they are tenants. So they are the one that is illegal miner and they are storing the explosive illegally. And some of the residents at their own section, they are aware, but they did not tell the police. Some said the police have arrested them twice, which they did not desist from doing that. On the side of the government, it's for the government of Oyo State to know that anything they call residential is residential. We all came out wanting to help. How was saved us? You know, and anybody, I didn't think anybody was there to do it.
Well, let's bring in our correspondent, Ademola Lawrence, who is in Ibadan, for more updates on this unfortunate incident. Ademola, good to see you. A quite unfortunate one in Ibadan at this time. But can you talk to us about the latest information you have about the whereabouts of these illegal miners?
Yeah, currently now investigations are still going on about the perpetrators of these evil events that happened yesterday at about 8 p.m. in Bodija. And to let you know, this is a residential area. So it simply put it that, you know, anything that has to do with business, anything that has to do with, you know, hotels and what sort should not be permitted in this kind of area. But what we have seen so far is that as at 8 p.m. when this thing happened yesterday, the rescue management have been on their toes, making sure that they're trying to rescue whoever is under the rubble. When we got here this morning, we were meant to understand that 2 persons were actually taken out of the rubble, taken to the hospital to get proper treatment. But while I got here, I tried as much as possible to speak to some of the victims, and they recounted eyewitness. One of them, who I spoke to, who is a lady who I spoke to, said she was actually in the kitchen when the explosion happened, and she was actually with her son. And when the explosion happened, she had to cover herself and cover her son. And I spoke to her. I had to, you know, pity her for that kind of event. Her house was totally damaged. Everything was totally damaged. It was actually just opposite direct is her own house. And from some of the people that I've also spoken to, they've said that the security of the estates there's a lacuna in the security of the estate. Majority of the people just come into this place, come into the estate without being properly checked. That also put a check on the security of the state, where proper security measures had to be taken into consideration. But if you look at it, it's indeed an unfortunate incident that happened here in Bodija at Ibadan, precisely. Then you also talk about, because it's a residential area, so you have some government officials, functionaries, past deputy governors, of course, and the former Minister of Justice, and the former Oyo State Governor, Chief Bolaige House was also affected this particular incident that happened yesterday.
Debola, with the other 2 persons that were rescued this morning, it seems that this increases the number of casualties rescued in this rubble. But I see here that rescue operations are still ongoing. Does it seem like we still have some more persons under the rubble?
So when we got here this morning, there were a lot of people here, and the security agencies, were trying to just tell people to leave the arena, and they find it very difficult, of course, to leave. But after talking to them, some of the security agents, just to gain 1 or 2 informations, they told us that they are still doing testing, to ascertain the level of test in this particular place. And they told us that that's why they had to tell people to leave the environment. So there's every probability that there are still people under this rubble that they need to take out. But I must tell you, the level of damage in this place is enormous. I've been around this estate to the extent that the explosion got to the government house secretariat. It got to that place. The explosion actually got to that place.
The governor has been quite proactive in handling this case. I hear that he was at the University College Hospital till about 2 a.m. in the morning. I also know that Olaide should be on his way to the UCH. But if you have been to the hospital, do you have any information as regards those injured and how the treatment is going? Okay. Demola, if you can hear me, we still have a lot to discuss on this issue, but I'm sure we'll do that at 1 p.m. But that's our correspondent live for us in Ibadan, Ademola Lawrence. Thank you for joining us.